Today, we're focusing on a new future. Today, we're talking about innovations and celebrating the individuals, entrepreneurs, scientists and inventors who are building better tools to prevent, diagnose and treat children with pneumonia.
I'm going to talk about something that some of you may not consider to be so innovative, but I'm going to challenge you to change your mind and think outside the box a little bit. And that's human milk. Breast milk has been shown time and again, the data is irrefutable, that its impact is protective against all causes of infant morbidity and mortality. For this specific group, in the context of pneumonia, that data is also very clear.
Household air pollution is essentially air pollution that results from the burning of solid fuels. It's estimated that almost 3 billion people worldwide are reliant on burning these solid fuels using inefficient traditional cook stoves for their daily cooking and heating needs. It results in about 4 million premature deaths every year. About 500,000 of those are related to acute lower respiratory infections, which includes pneumonia.
You know, I work in a first world environment where I look after sick children every day, and it's extremely rare for us to have a child die from pneumonia. Extremely rare. And you know, we've got lots of fancy equipment and things that we do, but it took me some time to realize that of these children that are dying of pneumonia, 80% of these children never get in contact with any healthcare facility, any medications. So this is really where the problem is. The major problem is how do we identify these children at risk? And that's where the diagnostics come in. Yes, prevention is important, but diagnostics is always going to be important for those children who still fall through the cracks of prevention.
Clinicians, expert clinicians, thought that they could diagnose whether or not someone was hypoxic or not, meaning that they had a low level of oxygen saturation, by physically looking at, touching, visually seeing the patient. Today, in the developed world, and ideally throughout the world, you wouldn't do any surgery on any patient without a pulse oximeter. So the notion that historically you could diagnose without some sort of tool has changed dramatically, because now you wouldn't do surgery without it.
We are failing in pneumonia. We have almost 1 million children dying every year. And I came from the HIV and malaria space. And the rate of progress there has just been so much more impressive. Now that's great because it gives us hope, but it also tells us how far and how quickly we need to move.
What I also remember is President Kennedy very confidently saying at the beginning of the 60s, we can send men to the moon and bring them back safely. The reason he could say that is that he knew we had all the essential technology. They had the delivery systems, they had the life support. And so it was a matter of turning it into something that would actually get there. And that's how I feel about oxygen therapy. And we have these beautiful little machines called oxygen concentrators. Lovely, highly engineered things. It's a mature technology, but it's designed for a single adult at a time with chronic lung disease. And they work great in someone's living room, but they're not very good in a dusty or humid environment. Enough oxygen for one sick adult is enough for maybe 4 or 5 children. So it really is a useful thing to have. But when the power goes off, they stop producing oxygen. That can be fatal for the child who's on it. When the power fluctuates, that can actually kill the machine. The filters clog up, all sorts of problems. So the challenge is not so much inventing a completely new technology, it's adapting the technology that we have to fit into the setting.
When we commemorate World Pneumonia Day every year on November 12th, we acknowledge that children are still dying from what is a largely preventable or otherwise treatable illness. This global infectious disease is the leading killer of children under 5, and it needs to get more attention and effort, not only from the international community, but also from the private sector. In the first place, we want to improve early diagnosis in children under the age of 5 through the use of the new automated acute respiratory infection diagnostic aid, ARIDA, device for the early and accurate detection at the community level. Secondly, we need to improve a proper treatment through availability and use of affordable quality supplies of amoxicillin dispersible tablets. And the last pillar is raising awareness and advocacy. People are often surprised to learn that the leading killer of children under 5 years old is actually pneumonia. It is therefore paramount to communicate to internal and external stakeholders about the impact on children and how this innovative project will contribute to save their lives.
I welcome you all here, and I thank you for taking the time and commitment to come here and to investigate these very important worldwide issues. Thank you very much, Leif.